Hello, everyone. Welcome to the All Day Football Show. I'm your host, Jackson Kellogg, and today I've brought you a guest. This is Michael. Say hello.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good to be here.
All right, that's what we like to hear. So, as you can see by the icon, he's sadly a Seahawks fan, but we still like him. Um,
Go Hawks, go Hawks.
what,
And rest we trust.
when did you become a Seahawks fan?
Um, well, I started watching football when the Seahawks went to those two Super Bowls back to back, and I was rooting for them both times. And after that, I was like, this is my team. I'm gonna ride for this team. And ever since I've like fell in love with Russell Wilson. I fell in love with Pete Carroll. I just love what the franchise does. Yeah.
Gotcha. Obligatory haha 1 yard line, but
We would have won that.
got to throw that in there. Yeah,
We would
I'm
have won
not
that
that big
game.
of a Pete Carroll fan, especially after what happened at USC when you read into that situation. So he threw a lot of players under the bus over there, and a lot of Seahawks players don't really care for Pete Carroll. That's why a lot of them leave.
Pete Carroll is a changed man. Everybody loves him.
All right,
Trust me.
you tell yourself
The
that.
culture.
So,
He's the culture.
as being a Seahawks fan, so I figured we both go over our rosters because we don't necessarily pay attention to each other's teams as much. So anyone knew I am a Patriots fan. That last year was rough for me. Um, but yeah, so
Mm.
we'll go over the Seahawks roster first, and then we'll go over Patriots. So here we go with
Seahawks
the
first.
Seahawks roster. So kind of going, it's a weird list here in the way that it goes. A lot of the more better players have like the ranking on the left side here. So for example, they've got Russell
Hmm.
Wilson with a ranking. He was sixth last year out of quarterbacks. That's
Yeah,
probably
sounds right.
yeah, it was probably like he did well in like the first half, but then the offense did terrible in the
Yeah,
second half of the year.
yeah, it was. Yeah, that's why.
And of course, it was right when the defense started playing well that made it just as hilarious.
Here you go. But here's to the first 6 weeks. They were the best 6 weeks of my life.
Yeah.
I really thought Russell Wilson was gonna be MVP, but you
R.I.P.
know
So, yep, you got Russell Wilson still there at quarterback. They decided not to trade him, even though the Bears offered
he's
like
not
this.
going anywhere.
I heard like the Bears. So from rumors, they offered like multiple firsts, Khalil Mack. Like they just threw everything out there to pull him, and it didn't go through. So
Yeah, but then we would have needed a quarterback, and they're not gonna trade Russ unless he really wants out. He
that's
doesn't
true.
want out.
No,
Period.
from what I've seen, he really doesn't. So looking at the wide receivers here, you've got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf making the 1-2 punch. So when the draft was going on, when they drafted Dwayne Eskridge, I was really confused for a second because I remember last year, like the Seahawks had I forget his name, but it wasn't Dwayne Brown, was it?
What are you talking about? In
They
what
had
regard?
they they had like a bunch of receivers. They had Philip Dorsett. I think it
Hmm.
was Dwayne Brown was his name. No, that doesn't
I
sound
think
right.
Brown is an offensive
Oh yeah, yeah,
lineman.
yeah. They had,
Freddie
but
Swain,
yeah. So they had a bunch of receivers.
David Moore.
Yeah. Oh, David Moore. That's who it was. Um, I was way off
He's
there.
overrated.
Um, eh. So when they drafted Eskridge, I was like, why in the world did they do that? And then I went looking. I was like, oh, it's because they don't have a wide receiver three. Because at the moment, your wide receiver
Yeah,
three would have been Freddie Swain.
yeah, and that's not going to work out too well. He needs more time to develop Freddie Swain.
Yeah,
And for Eskridge, I mean,
he did
I
pretty
don't
good.
know. He could have picked somebody else.
He. I feel like he was
Yeah,
another deep threat, is what his role is. So what I'm thinking is they're gonna throw Lockett in the slot like all the time now, and it's gonna be Metcalf and Eskridge running all over the place.
well, with Eskridge, he can create separation pretty well, and he's pretty fast. But I don't know if that can translate to the NFL against pro
Yeah, because
corners.
he's gonna have Gilmore and Jalen Ramsey like knocking him at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, he's gonna have Gilmore. Wait, who are we talking? Gilmore. Yeah, Gilmore. We can have him on the defense because he's coming to Seattle.
Ah, you're funny with
Stephon
that one.
Gilmore.
Um,
He is.
so
Watch, it's gonna happen.
going to the running back spot. So they did re-sign Chris Carson. You feel like that was a good move?
Of course. I mean, I feel like watching him play. A lot of people don't really know because they don't really like know of him that much, or I guess they do. But he runs people over. He gets all the yardage he can, and it's been useful. He's good on short yardage situations, and I love him personally. So I'm happy he's back.
I feel like the problem with Chris Carson though is that he's injury prone. But then kind of had to re-sign him based off of the running back market. But then so with backup
Yeah.
options, Rashad Penny's been a bust of a pick.
Rashad, yeah, because he gets injured all the time.
He was so
He should be good when he was healthy, but then he came back and it wasn't the same.
the best is Patriots fans hate on like the Sony Michel pick because it's like, oh, Chubb was taking a few picks later, yada yada yada. The Seahawks drafted Rashad Penny before the Pats took Sony Michel. So not not that good looking there either. But
Yeah, that
I
Rashad
agree.
Penny pick,
I think
I didn't like it.
Yeah, Chris Carson I feel like is underrated and is a good option for Seattle there. Looking at the
Yeah, he
tight end
gets his
spot,
yardage.
the tight ends they let a bunch of like their depth guys go and brought in Gerald Everett from the Rams. I feel like that's a good option to pair with Will Dissly.
No, I'm happy with our tight end position. Kobe Parkinson, he didn't play that much last year, but I feel like he has great potential. Will Disley, he's
Will
really great. I
Dissly's
mean,
great.
he is really great.
His problem is he's
he
got to
got
stay on the
injured,
field
but
though.
he's gonna be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gerald Everett, he's gonna bring some diversity to the offense. Of course, I feel like the guys we let go, we really didn't need them, so it's okay.
Yeah. So this offense looks great, but the problem with it is this offensive line.
Oh, here you go.
I mean, so you've got Dwayne Brown, right? You brought in Gabe Jackson, but then other than that, it's not looking too shabby. So they drafted Damian Lewis last year. He's played well, ranked 13th out of 80 guards, but I'm guessing they're gonna switch him to what, center or rock with Ethan
Oh,
Pocic?
he's gonna move to the other guard spot.
Left guard.
Yeah, and Gabe Jackson's gonna play right guard.
Gotcha. And then Pocic in the center. So yeah, I mean the offensive line, it's not like Bengals territory where it's that awful, but
Gotten better, but it's been worse. And
it has
they
been
were
worse.
good in the last part of the year last year. So
Yeah. It very clearly still has work that it needs to be done to it. Damian Lewis still has to develop into a second year. Gabe Jackson's aging. Dwayne Brown 5th ranked out of 79 offensive tackles with an 87.8 PFF grade.
But he's old, so I don't really know if he's gonna be able to hang in there. This is probably his last year.
Drafted
So we're
in
gonna have to.
2008.
That's why we have Stone Forsythe. And the right tackle position, I think, is the biggest problem we have.
Yeah, that's Brennan Sheld over there.
Shell. Yeah, but I really like Stone Forsythe, and I feel like hopefully he will be able to take the starting position from Brandon Shaw. I really don't know though.
Yeah,
Stone Forsythe has some
drafted.
feet issues.
I mean, he was drafted in the 6th round. So, I mean, the Patriots did just have 2 depth offensive line players drafted last year move into a starting, like a really top guard, and then a rotational offensive tackle, and Onwenu, and then Justin Herron. But we'll get into that with the Pats roster. So, overall, the Seahawks offense, it looks good, but it's almost very similar to what it was last year, and it was inconsistent. So.
Oh, well, I mean, inconsistent, but I feel like we have young guys, and if they step up, then I feel like we'll be really good. And we have guys like DK and Tyler who carry the load at the receiver position. Russ Wilson, Chris Carson, they're going to do what they need to do. So, inconsistent, I don't think so, especially with Shane Waldron. It's going to be a sight to see. I'm excited.
So, flipping to the defensive side here, it starts with the DBs here. Akella Witherspoon, I didn't realize how good he was. But is he a slot? Is he an outside corner or a slot?
He's gonna play in the outside. I'm pretty sure.
So I know he's coming
From
over
out-
from
slot.
San Fran. Little
Mm-hmm.
in division move there. Given an 80.2 grade from PFF. So it's a needed move for the Seahawks, I feel like, especially after they let Shaquille Griffin go. Or Shaquille Griffin.
Yeah.
Still, they brought in Pierre Desir. They've got Ugo
Backup
Amadi,
player.
Trey Flowers. So it's a young cornerback room other than Desir. So, but
We drafted Trey Brown. Forget.
Trey
We
Brown
have Brian
was
Mill.
drafted in the 4th round this past year out of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's another developmental move. Ugo Amadi should develop into being the slot corner there.
I like Ugo. He's made some good plays and decent. He has his moments, but I'm hoping he can develop well in his third year as well.
Yeah, so then moving over into the safeties there, you only really have 2 legitimate safeties in Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs. Jamal Adams, they traded with the Jets 2 firsts and a whole bunch more to go get him. I feel like he's been playing
Those
more
are
of like
two-
that hybrid linebacker role, though.
Yeah, they have him blitz a lot, and he's not the best in coverage. He claims to be, but I don't know. We'll see.
I
He's
mean,
healthy when he's
all you have to
healthy.
do is look at the Jamal Adams versus Edelman plays from last year, and you can tell he can't cover because Edelman was doing that on a busted knee.
Talking about when he was with the Jets, or was
No,
with the
with the Seahawks last year's game.
Week 1 game or whatever, Week 2, Week 1, whatever it was.
Yeah, the Week 2 game. We don't talk about that final goal line play.
We talk about it because it was great. That was a good game.
Was
I'm
the
telling you, when the Seahawks they were doing good early in the season, and I was
Oh yeah.
happy as
Well,
forever.
I was excited because I was like, oh, the Patriots went toe to toe with the Seahawks and should have won that if they didn't run the same play on the goal line 3 times.
They shouldn't have won that because they didn't. The Seahawks won it.
Whatever.
Really. And as for the safeties, those are 2 Pro Bowl safeties. I like Quandre Diggs.
Yeah, I feel like he was a good addition.
We saved him, took him from the Lions, and he's with us.
They're lucky he escaped.
He makes good plays.
He escaped legal trouble, whereas DeAndre Baker didn't.
Oh yeah.
They had the run in Florida.
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
Ugh,
Wow.
NFL players can't stay out of trouble, man. Moving over to linebacker, so they haven't re-signed KJ Wright.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's...
Well, he wants to get paid a little more than we can give him, I guess. Oh, I really don't know. I mean, he's getting old. We have Jordan Brooks, so I at the same time, like, he's a good player. He had a really good year last year, but
Do they not run a lot of 3
Brooks.
Do they not run a lot of 3 linebacker sets?
Well, yeah, they do, but they put one of them on the line of scrimmage a lot. But I don't really know. We're gonna see what happens this year. We have a lot of corners that need to play, and I feel like we're not done bringing in corners, so I feel like we're gonna have a lot of nickel this year. But who knows?
Yeah, Bobby Wagner, as always, is a really
And he's
amazing
gonna be
linebacker. He is getting up there
and
in
they
age,
moved
though.
I don't see his name there for the linebackers, but they moved what's his name? Darrell Taylor. He's gonna play some linebacker, you know.
Yeah, he's
I'm
down here.
excited
He's
for
down
that.
here over on the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? So the defensive line. So they drafted L.J. Collier in the 1st round 2 years ago. That hasn't really worked out. Poona Ford's a great defensive tackle. They brought in Carlos Dunlap. Other than that, they don't really have a lot on that defensive line.
No.
Like Carlos Dunlap is about it.
I
They
don't
brought
think
in
so.
brought in Alden Smith from the Cowboys.
Why is Shaquem Griffin's name there? I don't know.
I'm guessing it's players that haven't signed. Maybe I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know. Is he still there? I don't know.
Well, he's not. I don't really know how that works.
I don't either. We don't work for PFF. We don't know how this page works. But yeah, so I feel like that's the weakest spot on their defense is that D-line because they couldn't generate pressure last year. They brought in Carlos Dunlap. He played decently for them, but he is up there in age. So is Alden Smith. They need some of these young guys to get to the quarterback.
We have a lot of young guys on the team, but I mean, I don't know. When we got LJ Collier, we didn't really play him that much in his rookie season. I don't know what's going on, and I know he just hasn't developed at all, really, or not that good, in my opinion. Puna Ford, I love him.
Yeah, Puno Ford's
He
just
made
a
some
great
plays
run
last
stuffer
year.
inside.
He's. I hope he has a good year. He should. But I don't like that we brought in Al Woods again. I mean, he's old, and there's other defensive tackles on the market. Now we have Al Woods, and I don't know. I feel like we could have just brought in one of the other defensive tackles, like I don't know. So that's my opinion on that.
Adam Butler from the Pats would have been a good ad, but he went over to Miami.
Oh,
Adam Butler's more of like a pass rush D tackle though.
Hmm.
But yeah, so this is your Seahawks roster. So I would give this roster like a B plus, like a BB plus. I'm sure you're leaning more towards the A side.
Yeah, I'm like maybe no. I don't know. Hold on. I'm feeling like an A minus, B
Yeah.
plus. I
Like
don't know.
it's a good roster, but they have some very evident issues.
We just have young players who need to step up, and if they don't step up, and I don't really know what's gonna happen. And we have old players as well, like on the
There's not
defensive
really an
line.
in between with this roster.
What do you mean?
Like there's no players like so you've got your really old veterans and like your Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson, Dwayne Brown, but then you have your super young guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. So it's up to the young guys, and it's up to older guys to hold the team together. So
So
having guys like Jamal Adam, Bobby Wagner, I feel like our defense is gonna have like a brotherly love to it. And I'm
gotcha.
just excited. I'm just excited for Seahawks games to come back. 17 game season. I'm gonna go see them play.
Yeah,
Just
I'm trying
yet,
to go to a Pats game or two. I've been looking at tickets already.
it's better for you because they're close and you can go to a home game.
Yeah,
Never been to a Seattle Seahawks home game. Only away games. Because
yeah.
they're so far.
Speaking of the Patriots, we're gonna get into the Patriots roster
Ooh.
here. All right, no need for this. So, at the quarterback position, the Patriots drafted Mac Jones in the first round this year. I was ecstatic. This was the quarterback I wanted all along. He fits the Patriots system. But so far, Cam Newton has looked good in camp, as is what people are saying. But I'm still skeptical after last year. This man's favorite target was the turf.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it should be.
Yeah. um. So I'm thinking part of Cam's issues last year was getting COVID because I don't think there was any player that got COVID that didn't have issues afterward. Like off the top of my head, I can't really
Yeah,
think
it
of
did
one.
affect him a little bit.
So the quarterback room is going to be the main staple for how the Patriots succeed this year because it's a very good
Of
roster,
course.
but the quarterback was one of the, if not
So
biggest issues of
it's
last year.
yeah, and that's an important position. They say you can't win in the NFL without a good quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're the Bears who have just an ultra good defense and can sneak into the playoffs with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback.
But then they don't make it far.
No,
You want to be a Super Bowl team. If you want to be a Super Bowl team, you need a good quarterback.
yeah. So, switching over to the wide receivers here. Wide receiver was another terrible position from the Patriots last year. Drafted N'Keal Harry 2 years ago in the first round over guys like DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown. The list goes on.
Basically.
So he has not developed as well as it was hoped that he would. But Jacoby Myers and Gunnar Olszewski, who were two undrafted receivers in that same class, have developed better. Gunnar Olszewski's probably has a possibility of developing into the slot role that Edelman, Amendola, and Wes Welker have all had. But because of this, they did bring in Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar this offseason. Kendrick Bourne I'm excited for because he played really well for the 49ers. Aguilar I'm a little skeptical of because, going through camp already, he's having drop issues. So that's a little upsetting. But I'm thinking the Patriots are going to run a lot of 2 wide receiver, 2 tight end sets because of the new additions in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. If both of those guys can stay healthy throughout the whole year, it would be
You got to get both on the field. That's that could be like a 1-2 punch.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it would be probably the best tight end duo since Gronk and Aaron Hernandez.
I mean, we got to see him play first.
That's true. Kind of skipped over the running backs here. The running back room, it doesn't have like a really talented guy, but every player there has their own role. So you've got James White as the receiving back, who he does his job very well. Damian Harris and Sony Michel are like the 1-2 first and second down punch. They both had their moments last year where they played really well. Damian Harris was the second best running back according to PFF. Obviously, that's probably not true, but he did very well as a runner. Not that big of an option in the passing game. And then in the 4th round, the Patriots drafted Ramondre Stevenson out of Oklahoma. Dude is essentially LeGarrette Blount, but younger, which is nice. So I'm a little worried in that sense.
What round did you draft him in?
The 4th.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so he gets compared to LeGarrette Blount. He's just a boulder going down the field. Wondering what that means for Sony Michel, as he was kind of the more power runner for the Patriots. So I wonder if Stevenson does well in camp. I wonder if they decide to move on from Michel. I don't think Michel is terrible. He's just not. He definitely wasn't a first-round talent. But he did almost single-handedly win the Patriots a Super Bowl in that Rams run. So I'd rather a Super Bowl win than anything else there.
Oh, Rams. Yeah. It would be interesting to see that Ramondre, whatever his name is, Stevenson.
Yeah.
Is like LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah, the Patriots do really well in terms of developing running backs, so I'm excited for it. Like I said with the tight ends, they brought in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, which is a little I'm excited for the move, but what kills me is that the Patriots spent 2 third-round picks last year on tight ends and Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene. They just won. They, 1, couldn't get on the field, and 2, when they did, just did not play well. So either catching or run blocking. So they went splurged on tight ends.
That sucks.
Switching over to the offensive line here, I think this is one of the 2 best offensive lines in the NFL. Or 3. I'm blanking on the other top units off the top of my head, but the Patriots are one of the top 3. You've got their worst offensive lineman is left tackle Isaiah Wynn, and that's not because of his play, it's because of his injury proneness. Dude, in like 48 possible games that he could have played in his career, has only played like 16. But when he's on the field, he plays really well on that blind side. You've got Michael Onwenu at the left guard spot. He was drafted in the 6th round last year out of Michigan. Patriots in drafting Michigan players in the 6th round. Something about it. He played really well there last year. You've got David Andrews, who they brought back at center. He's a highly underrated guy who really staple base there at the center spot. Got Shaq Mason at the right guard spot. He had a drop in production last year, but he's one of the best run-blocking offensive linemen in the league. And then at the right tackle spot, they traded for Trent Brown, who they traded for a few years ago from the 49ers. Helped us win a Super Bowl in blocking Aaron Donald. There's a picture that shows Trent Brown like holding off Aaron Donald. That he makes Aaron Donald look small. It's absolutely
Mhm.
absurd. Dude it's even listed here. He's 6'8", 380 pounds.
At 6'8", that's big.
That's tall. So that's taller than Gronk, and if you were to add like an extra 130 pounds to him,
Mhm.
that's a scary
A
guy.
big guy right there.
He didn't play well for the
Yeah.
Raiders, but when the Patriots did trade for him, he came out and was like, "It's about motivation, and I love the team of the Patriots." I just don't think it was a good culture fit over there with the Raiders.
Oh,
But the Patriots
there he
have
is.
one thing that makes the Patriots offensive line great is that they have tons of depth. They brought back Ted Karras. So they signed Ted Karras a few days before they brought back David Andrews. That was if they didn't know they were going to be able to bring Andrews back, but they did. So now they have two starting worthy players at center. And Karras is versatile enough to play guard because he did for us for a few years. They
Mm.
brought in, so they drafted Justin Herron in the 7th round last year. He played well when injuries were coming around, and he played well at the right tackle and left tackle spots. So he's probably going to be in a swing tackle role for us, possible development into a starting tackle.
A lot of depth.
Yeah, and they drafted Will Sherman in the 6th or 7th round this year. Watched some film on him. He looks like a beast. So kind of similar to I think it was Onwenu last year, who they were saying they just small arms is the issue when it comes to these guys. But great offensive line depth. I feel like this team's going to be a run heavy team, which leads to like play action. And
They
then
get
when
those tight ends on the field.
yeah, and when they get Mac Jones on the field, it's going to be like quick passes because that's what they've been having him do in practice so far.
Mm.
Not really taking the shot deep, trying to hide that arm strength. But overall, the offense is going to rely on the quarterback play, and if the quarterbacks play well, this offense is probably, I think, could be a top 10 unit based off of the talent it has. But it's going to be a matter of can the quarterbacks play and can the receivers get open, which was the big main issue last year. So flipping over to the defensive side here, the Patriots secondary, it looks good, but it gets really bad if you take away just one piece of it. So explaining that, Stephon Gilmore, shutdown corner, no question about it. He's a top 5 corner in the league. One of the first cornerbacks to win Defensive Player of the Year over the last few decade or two. And what makes that special, so he's the shutdown corner, goes on the number 1 receiver. You've got J.C. Jackson, who's a number 2 wide receiver shutdown. He's played great, was an undrafted corner a few years ago, developed really well. And they've got Jonathan Jones in the slot corner spot, one of the best slot corners in the league. Highly underrated, not talked about enough. So the issue here is that the Patriots don't necessarily have depth to replace these guys. So what I mean is if so last year Stephon Gilmore was out for a few games. And when J.C. Jackson had to move up to play the number 1 corner role, he didn't really do it very well. He didn't have the IQ that Gilmore has when it came to making plays and whatnot. So J.C. Jackson, he's a good cornerback too, but he's not quite at the number 1 spot yet. But if you were to take J.C. Jackson out, they don't necessarily have another cornerback 2 to throw in there. As Jawan Williams, who's the cornerback 4, he's been more of like a gadget type of defensive back where they throw him on a lot of the tight ends. Because he's bigger and not in the basic corner build. So it's a little depressing as he was another 2nd round defensive back pick that the Patriots just seem to blow every single year. It's literally a staple. They draft someone who would have gone in the 3rd round in the 1st round, and then draft a defensive back in the 2nd round who ends up being terrible. The hopeful break of this curse. Yeah. The hopeful break of this curse is Kyle Duggar, who was drafted last year out of Lenore Rhine Division II school. He played great last year. He was kind of like a poor man's Jamal Adams, as he played in the box a lot, as he blitzed, stuffed the runs. Played really well in that role. I'm guessing they're going to have that again for him this year. They have Devin McCourty, one of the best free safeties in the league, getting up there in age, but still plays really well at his role. Jalen Mills they brought in from the Eagles. He's a gadget-type defensive back who I'm sure they're going to throw. Whenever they put Kyle Duggar up in the box, they'll throw Jalen Mills in the back. Adrian Phillips, who played well in the third safety role last year, also as more of an in-the-box safety as well. The Patriots were low in depth in terms of linebackers last year, so Duggar and Phillips had to play in that role a lot, and they played it very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting to those linebackers, the Patriots, they knew linebacker not a good spot after last year, so they reboot it. Dante Hightower comes back after opting out of COVID. Jawan Bentley's kind of more going back to more of a rotational role as he's more of a run-stopping linebacker. Josh Uche, Anthony Jennings, they were both drafted last year. Uche, in limited roles, played very well, hoping to get him more involved in this year. He's talked about following Dante Hightower's game, so I think they might develop him into an inside linebacker role. They brought in Raekwon McMillan. The linebacker spot is looking good.
Raekwon McMillan, he's pretty good.
Yeah, and they brought back Kyle Van Noy, who I'm guessing they have down here in the edge spot. Yeah, so one of the biggest issues for the Patriots last year was the defensive line. They weren't stopping the run very well, and it also led to them not being able to rush the passer. Their sack leader was Chase Winovich with 5.5 sacks. It's not something you really want to hear. So they brought back Kyle Van Noy, brought in Matt Judon from the Ravens. He wasn't necessarily a sack leader, but he got to the quarterback and created pressure, which the Patriots weren't even able to do last year. So it is helpful. They drafted Ronnie Perkins in the 3rd round, great edge rusher out of Oklahoma. He was a steal so both him and Ramondre Stevenson probably would have gone higher if it weren't for they both were suspended for marijuana usage. So
wow,
rough spot there for them. But good thing they're kind of lifting those restrictions in the NFL. In the defensive line, like the D tackle areas, defensive ends, they brought back Lawrence Guy, Dietrich Wise. Both of those guys played well for the Patriots last year. Dietrich Wise more of a pass rusher, Lawrence Guy more of a run stuffer in the middle. They brought in Devon Godshaw, who was injured last year, but the year before was one of the best run-stuffing defensive tackles in the league. And they also drafted Christian Barmore in the 2nd round out of Alabama, who was a projected first-round pick who just happened to slide. So the Patriots traded up to go get him. So this defensive core is one of the most talented in the league, I feel like. But it's just a matter of, are they going to be able to put it together on the field? They don't really have a staple setup, it looks like, on this defense. There's a bunch of guys who they can rotate around and throw in different spots. And I think if they do that successfully, which I think they will with both Bill Belichick and Steve Belichick running the defense, it's going to be very confusing for opposing offenses to figure it out because they have so many different gadget players this year that they can throw all over the place. And I think it's just going to confuse offenses up the wall.
It'll be interesting to keep up on, for sure. Now you mentioned that.
Yeah, the defensive backs is the strongest area, and the problem last year was that the secondary was like a top 10 unit last year, and that was with even a terrible pass rush. So the defensive line wasn't giving the DBs time to work with, to stay with their guys to cover them. So now this year, if they can generate that pressure, make the quarterback release sooner, it'll hopefully make the secondary work even better, as they'll have less time to have to cover, so they'll be able to stay on better.
Yeah, I feel like people aren't going to want to give you the opportunity to go in nickel. You have
Oh, yeah. There's no way this team is going to run a base like 3-4 or 4-3. They're going to run a lot of nickel and dime with how this secondary works. And then they're just going to...
What if they put like 2 tight ends out there or something?
They'll run dime.
Yeah,
So they don't they don't have cover linebackers. So what they'll do is they'll run dime and throw, say, Jawan Williams or Adrian Phillips on the tight ends.
Where's Dante Hightower?
Dante Hightower's more of a pass rush inside linebacker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He
can't cover at all, really. I feel like
He covers a bit,
I
but
think
so he's rated as one of the best pass rushing inside linebackers.
Okay.
That's more of his role. So he'll like sit over the middle, kind of watch over where to rush and then hit it. So like say an edge rusher will drop back and he'll run in. Is kind of how they do it. So like Chase Winovich will drop back to play off the ball. Josh Uche, I'm sure, will play similar in that role. Kyle Van Noy did that a lot when he played for the Patriots for a few years. So that's kind of the idea with using Hightower. Plus, he's up there in age, so he's not going to be able to keep up with a lot of these faster players. But yeah, this is the Patriots roster. I kind of have them as I'm giving them an A-, just because.
That's generous.
Listen, we don't know how the quarterback is going to do.
Yeah, that's an important part.
If the
Definitely.
quarterback plays well, this team, I think, is a playoff and possible Super Bowl contender. If the quarterback spot plays well.
Super Bowl contender.
Because this is a top 5
a
defense. This is a top 5 defense on paper, and you can say it will perform because it's being run by
But do you
one of
really
the
think like
greatest
Cam
defensive
Newton?
lines. I don't know if Cam
we
Newton's
really
going to
think-
play well.
Oh, yeah,
really
then
don't
if he
know.
doesn't, then what? You have Mac Jones. I mean,
Yeah. And with
they
Mac
can only go
Jones,
so far.
I'm okay with them throwing Mac Jones out there because he's a conservative thrower. It's not like they're throwing Zach Wilson out there, who at BYU would just chuck the rock, and that's what the Jets drafted him to do. Whereas Mac Jones, he was dink and dunk, got it to the receivers, and let them make the plays, which is what the Patriots should be doing, especially with the players that they have at those spots. Nelson Aguilar is great. Once he can catch the ball, he's great with it in his hands. Kendrick Bourne, same thing. So, they're going to be reliant on what they can do.
It'll be up to that quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This team will go as far as the quarterback spot will take them. So,
Do you really think a rookie quarterback could lead a team to a Super Bowl?
no, but I'm optimistic.
Okay, there you go.
Realistic, I did, so I went through and picked like all the games in a season, I think yesterday. And realistically, I had the Patriots making it to the divisional round and losing to the Titans, I think I had.
Wow, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I used to do it years ago, but I stopped. I'm gonna do that.
So, speaking of picking games here, figured we could pick the games for each of our teams. So, figure we'll start with the Seahawks. We're not going to go through the whole schedule. That takes way too much time and is super boring to do.
That takes too
recording.
much time.
Yeah, if you were to analyze like every single game, like,
we don't have to analyze every single one, but I'll give you some short answers. Like I'll get like some of them.
Yeah.
Would just be
But
like
we'll go through.
I think.
We'll go through the Seahawks picks and the Patriots picks. So, starting week 1 here, they're on the road against the Colts. I think that's a dub because I think the Colts are overrated so much this
Let me
year.
pick them. I mean, I agree that it's going to be a W, but let me pick
Yeah,
them.
all right.
You click.
So go. I'll
Alright.
offer my input. So you've got.
All right, week 2. It's the Titans. I honestly don't think we're going to win that game. Last time we played the Titans, they beat us.
I was gonna say I don't either. That
Derrick Henry.
Seahawks defense is not built to stop Derrick Henry.
No, he's definitely going to embarrass some guys in that game. But I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. And Ryan Tannehill, he's really good.
See, I feel like
Unintentional
Tannehill
player.
is given a lot more. I feel like he's overrated in terms of he doesn't have to do a lot.
I think he's good.
See, I think
he
I
made
think
good
you could
plays last
stick.
year.
I think you could stick any quarterback in that offense and it will do well.
I don't know.
But like, if you were to say stick Tannehill on the Patriots last year, Tannehill's not playing well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Maybe, I don't know. But he's doing what he needs to do, and he looks good in Tennessee.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think the Seahawks win that game either.
Ooh, the Vikings.
The Vikings always
You know
give
what?
the Seahawks trouble.
And Dalvin Cook, man, he's good. But I mean, we beat them last year. I think we're gonna beat them again this year. I think it's gonna be a really close game. But I think our defense,
Yeah,
they're gonna have their shit together.
I can agree with that. The Vikings secondary is atrocious. So I think DK
Yeah.
Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, they're gonna just dance around
Dwayne
them.
Eskridge, and he's gonna be
Yeah.
sneaking out the
This
back.
this will be the game where Eskridge pops off for like 10 receptions, 100 and something yards,
That would be
and
so
every
sexy.
fantasy player's trying to get him on the waiver wire.
Well, not me, that's for sure. But but definitely, he's bound to have a pop off game, and that's where it could be different. This game against the Niners. I mean, I don't know. It all depends how they're playing.
The
I don't
Niners,
know.
so the Niners are already dealing with injuries in camp, and
Yeah,
I feel
I
like this
mean-
game's gonna depend on who they've got going in at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that Jimmy Garoppolo has a better chance of beating us than Trey Lance because
Yeah, I
they tend
agree
to
in
give
that
rookie
sense.
quarterback trouble all the time.
The
I
Seahawks
think
are kind of similar to the Pats, where
Trey
they
Lance we're gonna win.
I feel like the Seahawks are similar to the Patriots, where they're good against rookie quarterbacks.
Oh.
So, all right. Oh,
Experienced
Seahawks win there.
defenses. Next game, the Rams. It's a home game, Thursday night game. It's gonna be our first game against Stafford. I think the Rams. Like if anybody's gonna know what we're doing, it's the Rams.
the
But they've lost a lot of
The
coaches.
Rams are the Seahawks' kryptonite. They beat them every year.
Yeah, they always get a game in on us. But I'm thinking that listen, if we're gonna have those fans back Thursday night, I think that this game is probably gonna be a W. I don't know about the next time around. I feel like I'll give them that
I was
1-1
gonna say,
split.
I'll give you this one just because it's in Seattle, but they're definitely not winning on the road.
No. If it was the other way around, I would say the Rams. Or if it was like a day game, I would probably say the Rams as well. But I think that having that crowd out there in the nighttime, that's like
the 12th man.
perfect Seahawks win right there.
The 12th man.
They're
is
giving
no
me
joke.
a lot of wins in the night.
So then you've got Steelers, so they're on the road against the Steelers.
Yeah, that's gonna be a game. Like I'm sad we have to play against the Steelers. I wish it was like the Bengals or something, but it's whatever. I think Steelers are probably gonna beat us. I don't know. They have a good
Really?
defense.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, well, what do you think? I don't know.
See, I would say no, just because the Steelers' offense I don't think is going to be very good, because their offensive line looks a lot worse than it used to, comparing to, say, a few years ago. And Ben Roethlisberger is not. He should not have come back. He should have retired. So I think that's...
But Ben Roethlisberger, he always gets it done. I mean, he's a good vet.
There were games last year he looked worse than Cam. And
Well,
that's
okay,
saying
then
something.
give it to the Seahawks then.
Yeah, I despise both teams, but geez, the Steelers are. I don't think they're going to be very good next year.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't keep up with the Steelers that much, but I do know they have a good defense.
They lost a bunch
They're
of
better.
defensive players. They only really have T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, and Minka Fitzpatrick still there.
Yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick, T.J. Watt. That's all you need. Cam Taylor or the other guy you said, wherever. Cameron Hayward, whatever.
yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, it's all that good enough to stop a team like mine. But we have a lot going on, a lot of diversity. The Shane Waldron offense. The players keep calling it intricate, so I don't know. We'll have to see. I can't wait and not wait at all. Okay, next game. Seahawks against the quarterbackless Saints.
Come on. Don't do my man Jameis like that.
I mean, listen. Jameis Winston, I feel like, probably going to do good in that offense. I feel like the Saints probably going to come to play. I feel like it can go either way, honestly. I really don't. I don't know. You can pick that one.
Monday night, the Saints are coming on the road, but I'm going to give it to the Seahawks just because I think Jameis Winston will have a tough time up in Seattle.
Yeah, that's true. With the crowd, Monday night game, I didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I go to any of these games, it's going to be the
probably the Pittsburgh one.
Or was it? Yeah, it's either Pittsburgh or Washington. That's the one I've been thinking of because
So, I'd advise going to the Washington one because the tickets will be stupid cheap.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna do. fuck Pittsburgh. I don't want to go there and lose. That would not be good. But the football team is gonna.
I was gonna say they might lose to Washington.
Yeah, I know. They beat us last year.
All right, Week 8, Seahawks at home against Jacksonville, coming off of a bye.
I don't know. Rookie quarterback, so that's the only reason I think we're gonna win that game. Because Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how he translates to the NFL, but I think we'll do pretty good. We're gonna be going against familiar type of scheme. I don't know how similar it's gonna be to what Seattle did last year, but Scotty's over there, our old offensive coordinator, and I think we're gonna know what to do, know how to stop them. I think that we probably have the better defense compared to their offense, so I don't. So yeah, Seahawks over Jags.
They've got Travis Etienne over there at running back, and then the receiving room, they've got DJ Chark, and that's about it in terms of legitimate talent. And then don't forget about Tim Tebow at tight end.
Tim Tebow, it's gonna be interesting to see how he plays, honestly.
What's hilarious is I think he's actually going to make the roster at tight end because I took a look to see what their tight ends are, and I'm like, they don't have any tight ends.
He probably will, and it'll be real interesting.
Yeah. So
I hope he steps on the field.
That would be so hilarious. Yeah. Week 9 they get a bye, and then week 10 they
perfect
play
time to have a bye
Packers. Week. See, here's my thing. If Aaron Rodgers is playing this game, Seahawks lose.
Yeah. Okay.
But
and if he's not, Seahawks win.
So I was picking games last night, and I picked them as saying that Aaron Rodgers was not playing. So I'm gonna say the same thing here. So Aaron Rodgers is not playing.
See, the thing is, I think he is gonna play. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he's just trying to put tension under the people that own the Packers.
From what? So the sources I've been following on that situation are the ones that are like actually close to Rodgers himself. And from what it's seeing,
they all say he doesn't want to be there, right?
Yeah.
Wants out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could be him just trying to spark a fire under the Packers.
Who knows?
They do.
But I would say give it to the Seahawks because I don't think Rodgers is going to play, and we don't know what Jordan Love is going to do.
All right, well then go ahead.
So I'll give you the Seahawks here.
Beat us,
Listen, right now you've got the Seahawks at 8-1, but it's not looking good for the second half here.
Hey, watch out. Listen, we have a tough division. That's all I can say. Against the Cardinals, listen, Andrew Hopkins
will piece the Seahawks up. That Cardinals team looks dangerous.
Yeah, they have a lot, in JJ. Wow, I just don't like it. I can't do it. I want us to split the series because I really don't know. Like, I watch every Seahawks game, and the division games can go either way.
So I think the Cardinals sweep the Seahawks.
Not sweeping the Seahawks. It's a 1-1 split. Watch, it will be a 1-1 split. They're not going to beat us 2 times.
I don't know about that.
They're not going to be able to stop our offense.
Yeah, they will. So their secondary, but they've got Malcolm Butler, Byron Murphy back there. So then on top of that, they also they've got Budda Baker at safety. Linebacker, you've got Isaiah Simmons, and they just drafted I think it was I'm so blanking on who they drafted. This is gonna bother me. I'm flipping over to the Cardinals here. They just drafted him at linebacker. Zaven Collins. They just drafted Zaven Collins in the first round. They brought in J.J. Watt to pair with Chandler Jones. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good team. I don't know. We're going to split the series. All I got to say.
I'll give you Seahawks
what
at
time
home.
is the game at? Time is the
I don't know.
game.
The times are screwy. It says 3, but that clearly isn't right. Um,
Sounds
I'm
like
guessing
a
it. I'm guessing they're
4.
doing it in Central Time, so I'm guessing that's a 4 p.m. game.
Yeah, maybe.
That's all that would
Well,
make sense.
I don't know. The Cardinals are probably gonna. I don't know. Probably gonna beat us that time around, but I think later in the season
Yeah,
we'll beat
that
them.
Week 18 game, that's an L.
It's an L. What? Well, I mean, it depends on how we're playing. If we need to make it to the playoffs, like if it's like we're like fight like win you're in type thing, like we're gonna
It's not
come to
gonna be like
play.
that.
But
They're
if
not.
it's like
We've got them at 9 and
if
1.
we know we're gonna make the playoffs,
The only
well, I
reason
mean, it's a good division.
the only reason it would get to that point is if for some reason they lost all 3 of these games here, which is
But
quite
it's
possible.
possible.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, we're not going 0-4.
I mean,
That's for sure.
all these games are split.
Listen,
They,
we could even beat the Titans, but I think that Derrick Henry's probably gonna have his way.
yeah. All right. Week 12 here. Seahawks on the road against Washington. I think Washington's taking the dub there. That defense
It's gonna
looks
be a
top
tough
3.
game.
That defense looks top 3 in the league.
What do they have? Remind me
Chase,
before I make my decision.
it's
Well, yeah, I know most of their players, but like
yeah, their
anybody.
pass rush I think is probably one of, if not the best in the league. So so in the secondary they've got Daryl Roberts. They signed William Jackson. They have Kendall Fuller, Landon Collins, Cameron Curl up in the safety spots. Linebacker Cole Holcomb, John Bostic. They drafted Jamin Davis in the first round. D-line, they've got Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Matt Ioannidis, Chase Young, and Montez Sweat. Like they've got
Yeah.
5
Yeah, they're good. That's good.
star-worthy guys on the D-line. I'm saying Washington takes that. Russell Wilson's gonna be running for his life.
No, yeah, I mean but the offensive line, it's gonna be better, and I think that from what I'm hearing, like I've been watching,
Yeah, but
no,
they're gonna have
the
Chase
press
Young
conferences.
screaming off the edge.
Yeah, but the Seahawks are gonna put like players in awkward positions, like on defensive players, and I guess they're gonna do a lot of like I don't know, stuff that's gonna make players choose between certain routes or whatever.
I feel like
And
this
I don't know.
game
I just know it's gonna be good.
it's not gonna be high scoring.
Probably not, because I mean I feel like our defense will clutch up to them, and probably not. But yeah, I guess the football team that's good. They're gonna win that game because they beat us last year.
All right, week 13, 49ers Seahawks. I feel like at this point Trey Lance is probably gonna be playing.
If he isn't, that's a W for the Seahawks.
Yeah, and the
He's
49ers
not beating
defense
us.
the 49ers just for some reason are injury prone, so I'm giving this to the Seahawks.
Okay. No, I agree.
Texans Seahawks, that Texans team, their only good player is going to court for over 20 sexual assault cases, so
Yeah, that's crazy.
that's not even a question.
Hopefully that's a game where Russell Wilson balls out. Offensive Player of the Week right there.
Yeah, that's really hopeful. Maybe they'll get like a defensive player because if Tyrod Taylor's there playing quarterback, not looking too good.
I like Tyrod Taylor though.
That man cannot catch a break.
I've always respected him as a player.
Yeah, but he keeps getting booted out of everywhere he goes. Buffalo, Cleveland, Chargers.
Yeah.
Speaking
It's
of
true.
LA is winning that game.
I agree.
Bears Seahawks.
Keep it
I think the Bears might win that.
Well, who would they have starting at quarterback?
By that point, probably Justin Fields.
If it's a rookie quarterback, like I take the Seahawks defense over a rookie quarterback every day. Like I really would.
Yeah, but see
all
that
against-
Bears defense.
I'm not scared of the defense at all. Our defense it's gonna be. They're gonna have a good year, and if they can stay healthy, and this is assuming that they do, I think we're gonna beat the Bears and their rookie quarterback.
All right. I'll give you
Yes,
that one. I think that game's going to be a toss-up, but
it'll be close. We're gonna beat the Lions. There's no
yeah,
question.
no question there.
The Cardinals, they can have it.
Yeah, last game of the year, you're already guaranteed playoffs at 13-3. Cardinals come and take that. So
13-4.
finish at
That makes
13-4. I feel like that makes sense. I do feel like there's some toss-ups in there though that can
Yeah,
really mess it
I
up
agree.
quickly. Like if they for some reason lose all three of those
We won't
games,
lose all three of those games.
I doubt it, but
Maybe
it
like
could
two of them.
happen.
Maybe one of them. Probably one.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic that we're gonna come to play, and I feel like this year, with what Shane Waldron's gonna bring, I feel like gonna be way better. We're gonna be hard to stop on offense, and Russell Wilson is gonna do a lot of play action with the Shane Waldron offense, and it's exactly what he's good at. So it's gonna be like a chef's kiss. I already know it.
Coming from the chef himself.
Exactly.
All right. We're
No
gonna
days off, 5 days a week.
switching over to the Patriots here. All right. I'm going to try to be as little biased as possible. So I've done this a few times, so I already know kind of where I'm at with what I'm doing here. So I'll go into explanations. Week 1 at home against the Dolphins. That's a dub. Patriots, for the most part, always beat the Dolphins at home. Any year they don't win at home, they beat them in Miami. It's just this weird thing they have. But the last few years, they've kind of been split in Miami, which is very frustrating.
Do you think that that's gonna happen this year?
I mean, Week 18, it'll depend on, I don't know. I feel like Miami might take that, but that game will be a toss-up. Week 1, though, the Patriots always dust Miami. It's just a yearly tradition at this point. Week 2 against the Jets, that's a dub. Zach Wilson's going to be starting at quarterback, and he's going to throw like 4 interceptions. It's not even going to matter
So?
It's not even going to matter if the Patriots' offense is working at that point.
You're probably right about that.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a pick 6 in that game. It's not going to look good for that Jets offense.
Remember that one pick six and the Seahawks and the Patriots?
Yeah, Devin McCourty, that was beautiful.
Jackson. Oh, is Devin McCourty?
Yeah, bounced off the receiver and into Devin McCourty's
Yeah,
hands.
that made me so mad. Like, and I think it was Greg Olson. Like, bro,
Oh,
just catch the ball. You're over here ruining Russell Wilson's stats. Can't do it. Well, furthermore, go on.
Week 3 at home against the Saints. Jameis Winston coming to town. That's going to be Pick City against the secondary. Same thing.
God.
Same thing. Similar.
I thought you said respect him. Look at you.
Okay, but like, man, literally threw
Saints are
30
owned.
interceptions the
Yes,
last
that's right.
year he started. Buccaneers Patriots game.
He
So
also threw 30 touchdowns.
the starting ticket price. So the lowest ticket price for this game is over $1,000.
Why? Is it a night game? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's not showing, but it's gonna be a night game. It's Sunday night, so I'm calling it. This is gonna be the most watched non-Super Bowl game in NFL history.
We'll have to see about that.
It's so the
Well, I mean,
the
it makes
reason
sense
it's
because Tom Brady against Patriots.
no, but not
Brock
so. The
too.
reason this game is Week 4 is at like a 300-yard pace per game, or at a steady pace. This game will be the game that Brady breaks Breeze's all-time passing record.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, that's why they set it up for this week. They want him to break it.
What if he breaks it in like week 3?
That would be upsetting.
Maybe if he knows he's getting too close, he's gonna stop throwing the ball, or they'll like bench him. Imagine
that they honestly might. That'd be hilarious. But Tampa Bay is gonna win that game. It's not even a question. I would Do I think there's a chance New England upsets them? Yes, but it's very slim. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots won, but I'm not expecting it. Week 5 on the road against Houston. They don't have Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, if he was playing, he always pieces up the Patriots for some reason. But, dude's busy doing other things.
Playing.
So, Week 6 against the Cowboys. This game I think is going to be tough just because of the Cowboys' offense. But that
Cowboys
defense
come to play.
But the Cowgirls, they don't really have much in terms of defensive talent. So, I'm going to hand that one to New England. Do I think there's a chance?
So?
I think there's an opportunity for them to lose.
If Mac Jones is in, the Cowboys will win that game.
Yeah, but the Cowboys don't have a defense.
But they have an offense. I mean,
It would be
exactly
high
sure
scoring.
Defense,
It would be a high scoring game. If it's close, it would be high
Probably.
scoring. Like this would be one of those games where
But it shouldn't be high scoring if your nickel is out there.
no, it really shouldn't be. If they get the
For them,
nickel
at
out,
least.
if they run nickel the whole time, and find a way, if they can stuff Zeke, then I think this game would be wraps. Week 7 against the Jets. That's another
Zeke
win.
he's a part. Yeah.
Chargers on the
But
road.
the Jets are coming off a bye week. They're going to be preparing to beat you.
It will be a close game because for some reason the Patriots can't ever blow out the Jets, but the Patriots will still win it.
Oh no, I feel like the Jets might take that game. Mark my words. Mark them here. You could mark on there, but I'm just saying mark my words. Watch.
All right. Here, I'll make up for it though. Chargers coming off of a bye at home with that team. I have to give that as an L for the Pats.
Doesn't Herbert? 5
Her-
touchdowns, 300 yards.
Listen. They stopped Herbert really well when they played him last year. This game was a blowout last year when the Patriots played him. Like the Patriots destroyed them. But it's a new year. Chargers look good. I think the Chargers will probably be a playoff team. And Herbert's going to develop in year 2. Watch him have like a Baker Mayfield sophomore slump, though, where he's really bad. That
would suck.
That would be hilarious. Week 9 on the road against Carolina. Carolina is a very young team at the moment, and Sam Darnold's going to be out there playing quarterback. So
Christian McCaffrey is going to show that defensive line up.
All right, but it's Sam Darnold.
Which is true.
It's Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but I mean, Sam Darnold, maybe with the right coaching staff, maybe he'll do better.
The last time Sam Darnold played the Pats, he saw ghosts.
But Christian McCaffrey is going to show that defensive line up. You're going to run out your weakness.
I don't know about
But
that.
yeah, the Patriots will win.
Week 10, Browns are probably going to take that. That team just has so much talent on it. If they don't, it'd be a little sad.
Jadeveon Clowney is overrated.
I agree.
That's all I can say about that.
Oh, yeah, Jadeveon Clowney's overrated, but they also have Myles Garrett, so it doesn't really matter. I feel Jadeveon
Both
Clowney's...
of them, I don't know, maybe he'll be better.
Jadeveon Clowney's, he's the guy where if you have a number 1 option, he will do well.
Yeah.
So, he did well in Houston because they had J.J. Watt.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
Falcons are winning that.
Myself, no.
Falcons are winning that.
Yeah.
They want revenge after 28. This will be the first game they play each other since 28-3. They
Falcons
want
are
that.
not winning that.
What?
And maybe.
It's a Thursday night game. The Falcons, the last time they played was the Super Bowl. You're telling me Matty Ice isn't going in with a vengeance?
I just don't think they'll be able to execute. What do they even have on defense? I mean, I don't really know, but...
Listen, the Patriots have these fluke games. Last year was the Broncos. It happens. Like I said, non-biased Patriots opinions. I know my team's tendencies. They're going to lose that game.
I don't know. I feel like he probably will win that game.
They're going to lose that game and then move on to lose to the Titans.
And lose to the Bills.
Listen, do I think this four-game losing streak could happen? Yes. Will it happen? Listen, the Patriots might take that game there.
They are going to beat the Falcons. Give them it.
You think?
Okay, I guess you don't have to.
All right.
They're 7-6. You're going to get them at 8-5.
Yeah. They'll beat the Colts because Carson Wentz is awful.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how he plays in the system, but he was good.
Yeah. Patriots will
For
win at home against Buffalo.
they'll probably split the series.
Yeah,
1-1.
they'll split there. They'll beat Jacksonville because of Trevor Lawrence. And then this game's going to be split, or it's going to be tough. But if Tua's playing, I don't think Tua is going to be a good quarterback in the league. And
I think so.
No. And I think at this point, Mac's playing. The defense got worse because they let go of a bunch of players. I think the Patriots take this game.
Yeah, probably 12-5.
Yeah, I got the Patriots heading in at 12-5.
The Seahawks at 13-4, which is better than the Patriots.
So
But I mean, it all depends on the quarterback play. Like if the quarterback doesn't play good,
a bunch of these games are
it could
toss-ups,
go.
though. So, like, the Patriots could beat the Chargers, but I also think they might beat the Falcons. Same
Who's
thing
the
where
Falcons?
I think they could beat the Browns, but they also might magically lose to the Colts.
Yeah, the
So-
Colts might just show up. We really
Yeah.
don't know how Carson Wentz is going to play.
Yeah, same thing with the Dolphins here. The Dolphins might magically... So, even if you were to give them some of these extra wins, the Patriots still end up with a winning record. Like, they're not having a losing record again this year.
No, if their defense stays healthy, no.
That defense looks like it might be a top 5 unit if it stays completely healthy. It looks like it'll be a top 5 unit. And if they, for some reason, if the quarterback play can do well, then it's wraps. Like, this team will at least make the playoffs and possibly win the wild card. If the quarterback play is amazing, I think this team sneaks into the Super Bowl. But that's also a bias. That's a biased opinion.
I'm telling you, Cam Newton not get it done against the Chiefs or the Ravens.
So here's a funny stat for the Patriots against the Chiefs matchup. So there are a few teams that actually play well against the Chiefs, and that's their division rivals and the Patriots. And the reason for this, so every year the Patriots have played Mahomes. They have stopped each year, or each game they've played against Mahomes, he has scored less and less. They have the blueprint to stop Mahomes. It's just a matter of, can the offense keep up when Mahomes makes his legitimate plays, where it does happen, he's going to score. You're not going to limit him fully.
Good.
I'm just glad they don't have to play the Chiefs in the regular season this year. They would probably piece them up, but...
Yeah. You think the Patriots would beat the Chiefs?
No, if it's early in the season, no. If it's later in the season, yes.
I see. Well, yeah. Well, it'll be late in the season in the playoffs, and you'll lose.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I told you so. Seahawks will go to the Super Bowl, and they will play the Titans.
Yeah. So we've done the schedules. We're getting close to finishing up here. What's your before preseason, before training camp? What's your Super Bowl pick?
Damn. Yeah, you can go first. I have to think about that. I need to look up.
All right.
To look at all the teams.
Here's my pick. So I've got the Patriots playing the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. I don't have a winner. So I don't like picking winners of the Super Bowl anymore, because I feel like Super Bowls, it could go either way.
You really think the Patriots are going to make the Super Bowl?
If the quarterback play is above average, yes.
Well, okay. That's respectable. But I don't know. I don't think so. I think even if they were to get like the best out of any of their quarterbacks, it won't be enough to beat other teams in the league. I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to make the Super Bowl. Or the Chiefs. It could be the Chiefs, but I don't know. I think the Bills. I think it's going to be the Bills against an NFC West team. I don't know which one. But I know it's going to be an NFC West team. I just know it. I don't know. That's my prediction.
You think an NFC West team can beat the Bucks?
Yeah.
All right.
There's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, you keep telling yourself that. All right,
especially with the Seahawks.
so what's your bold, like, super hot take for the season this year?
Um, Trevor Lawrence is not going to be as good as everybody thinks he will be.
I like that. I like that. I have a similar take. Um,
This is Zach Wilson.
no, so I don't think Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson will be that great in their careers. I think Trevor Lawrence will be more like a little above average. Zach Wilson's going to be at most like the average mark because he's playing for the Jets.
Mm.
Um, my let's see, my bold take would probably be that the AFC West might send 3 teams to the playoffs.
That's possible. Do you think that? Hold
I
on.
think the Chiefs
They
are
send
the
three
Chiefs are
teams.
definite, and I think the Raiders, Broncos, or Chargers, 2 of those 3 teams, doesn't matter who, or actually, even a hotter take, all 4 of those teams finish with winning records.
Mm,
That Broncos defense
it's
looks great.
possible.
That Broncos defense looks great. You're gonna get the Raiders, who always pull through with like an 8-8, 9-8 type of season, and the Chargers are gonna come in at like 11-6, 10-7.
Mm, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's possible. I think the Raiders, they're not going to do that well. I don't know. Broncos, I'm not really sure who they brought in. Can't really speak on them too much, but
Gotcha.
I think everybody in the NFC West is going to have a winning record.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
if any team doesn't, it's going to be the Rams
See,
or the injured Niners.
I was gonna say if any team does, it's gonna be the Niners because of injuries.
hmm But the Rams, I don't know. Matthew Stafford, I think good for him. He got a new team, but the Rams, they lost a lot of coaches, and you're going to see what Sean McVay really has.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't wait to beat them 2 times.
Yeah. You're funny with that one. A boy can dream.
Yes, he can. The Seahawks are a good team. People sleep on them.
People
They don't
being me.
respect them.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think.
people being you think the Patriots are going to make the Super Bowl.
Because they will. They've got the
No.
evil emperor still at the helm.
You talking about Bill Belichick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, DK Metcalf, he's going to have such a great year. Tyler Lockett is just going to make all those plays that DK doesn't. And it's going to be so sexy. And the Seahawks are just going to piece it together so beautifully. And Russell Wilson is going to win MVP, and it's going to be great. That's how I feel. I'm an optimistic Seahawks fan. I always have been.
And I am a optimistic Patriots fan.
Very optimistic.
But anyways, I think that's going to do it for the first episode of this podcast. Thank you for everybody who made it to the end. Thank you, Michael, for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Very fun. We'll
Good
have
to go over the
do it.
Seahawks. It has me ready for the season.
Yeah, definitely we'll do it again sometime. But gonna say see you guys. If you haven't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hope you all enjoy. Have a great rest of your time getting ready for the season.